Hello, hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel BitXplosive. Today's topic will be decentralization. Just to give you a brief, in the last two videos we have studied about blockchain motivation. I have given you two examples of blockchain in the real life world, and this will be our third video. In this video, we will be studying about decentralization. Okay. Okay. As I have told you in the first video itself, the major advantages of blockchain allows us to create trust between application, and second one is it allows us to build decentralized applications. So now the word decentralization means that we have to remove the central authority from any system. Let's say if we are doing a payment, bank is a central authority, we want to remove that central authority in order to make smooth payments, so that it can be cost effective and fast. So let's take an example of bank transfer itself. How a bank transfer usually happens in the real life. So let's say there are two parties, Alice and Bob. Now Alice has an account in SBI and Bob has an account in Canara Bank. Let's say Bob want to transfer 50 crores to Alice. So just a disclaimer, we are not talking about 20,000, so we can't do like a UPI transaction or something like a bank transfer. We have to take help from a standard mechanism which is already there in bank, which is known as RTGS. The full form of RTGS is real-time gross settlement. So this is the full form of RTGS, and the banks use this mechanism to make huge transactions. Now the thing is that this old system, RTGS system, is little slow. So it will take some time to transfer 50 crores from Bob accounts to Alice account. Let's say it will take around 2-3 days. Another disadvantage of this is that it will take some cost. Bob will be charged some extra amount to do this transfer. So these are the two main disadvantages of this RTGS transfer system, or we can say that a normal transfer system between banks. Now let's say there is a third person, Carol, which is living in Germany, and he wants to transfer, let's say, $50,000 to Bob. Let's say Carol is having an account in Deutsche Bank, and he wants to transfer money to Bob. Now this transaction will be little more complicated than the usual one because it is an international transaction. So Carol definitely has to take help from some international transfer services. So let's say Carol has to first transfer the money to some next bank, let's say Western Union. Then he has to transfer money to some other account. That bank will be transferring money, not account. That bank will be transferring money to Bob. So there are two middlemen involved in this whole transaction. There are two extra banks which we are using to transfer money to Bob. So this is the traditional way these international transfers take place. Okay, now these two extra middlemen will charge some extra fees, and the transaction will also be delayed because we are transferring this money to different banks, and all the banks will be taking their own processing time. In the worst situation, the time will be taken will be even more. Now, is there any way in which we can remove these third parties and make the system more efficient and cost effective? So the answer to this is blockchain, and how it is possible I will show you. Let's say all the banks agree to a contract that they will have a single blockchain, and this blockchain will be transparent to each and every bank. All the banks will be having the same copy of the blockchain, and what this blockchain will contain is that each block of the blockchain will contain some transactions. So let's say each block will be having let's say it is having 10 transactions, and each transaction will be having three things: sender's account number, the receiver's account number, and the amount which is transferred. So this will be the whole scenario. Now let's say Bob wanted to transfer 50 crores to Alice. What will happen is that, let's say Bob's transaction got added to the blockchain. Once the transaction is added to the blockchain, now what banks can do is that bank can see that yes, Bob is trying to make a transaction from Canara Bank to SBI Bank, so they can see the whole scenario and they can make this transaction happen. Now all the middlemen which were previously there, all the mechanism, let's say RTGs which was there, which is not required here because we have a clear picture of what is happening. So this is the main advantage of using blockchain in our bank transfer system. Now how this whole thing will be happening is that I previously told you one thing, that blockchain can bring in trust in any application. So because it is a tamper-proof database, okay, when Bob is making a transaction and his transaction is added to the blockchain, he will be 100% sure that Alice will be receiving 50 crore rupees. So this is the amount of trust that blockchain can bring in a system. So that's why we are focusing on blockchain so much. So now we break down the transaction which is going to happen using the blockchain and between two parties. Let's say there is party Bob, there is party Alice. So Bob wants to transfer 50 crores to Alice. What he will do is first is that he will sign a transaction stating that he wants to transfer 50 crores to Alice. So this transaction Bob will sign and he will broadcast it in the network. What network we are talking about? There will be a network of all the banks where what the work of the bank is to create a block. Now all the banks will be creating a separate block which will have the transaction which are not yet confirmed. They will be forming, let's say, a block will contain 10 transactions. Each bank will be creating their own kind of block. It is not compulsory that different blocks which are created by different banks will be having same transaction. Because the network is very big, there will be n number of transactions. They will be picking time, so that there can be chances that some transactions are different in each of the block. Now all the banks will be creating a block. Now whose block will be added to the blockchain is a question. Now do that we will be using the consensus mechanism. What is consensus? The process of adding a block to the blockchain is known as consensus. The consensus mechanism, you can think of it as a, let's say there are two banks and they have created a block, and now each of them has an argument who will add their block first to the blockchain. What they can simply do is that they can flip a coin, and whoever wins the coin flip, they will be given privilege to add their block to the blockchain first. So in this similar way, there can be a number of banks, and they can follow some consensus mechanism to add their block to the blockchain. Now let's say that there is a block which is added recently, and it is having Rob's transaction of transferring this 50 crores to Alice. So now once this transaction is added to the blockchain, Bob can be confirmed that yes, Alice has received this 50 crores. This is at the user side. Now how banks will be behaving is that now bank can clearly see that Bob is having an account in Canara Bank, Alice is having an account in this SBI bank. They can clearly see, and they can see that they are trying to make a transaction. Now all the banks are having the same copy of the blockchain, so there will be no middleman involved, and this transaction can take place successfully. This way we were able to remove the middleman from our existing system. What is the benefit of removing middleman? The benefit is that it will reduce the cost. Firstly, so middlemen usually take some amount to do the transaction, so that cost will be reduced. Another thing will be time consumption. The time consumption will also be reduced because now every bank can directly see the blockchain and confirm that yes, the transaction has been made. So there will be no third party. So there will be no multiple transaction taking place for a single transaction. So the transaction can be done fast. For example, if I wanted to give you an example, a blockchain transaction usually takes 10 seconds. So let's say Bob wants to transfer 50 crore to LA, it will usually take 10 seconds for that. Okay, I'm just giving you a rough number. It can decrease or increase, but it will be very, very less than the traditional system. Okay, so this is the advantage of blockchain. In this video, we have studied about decentralization, how we have bring decentralization in the bank transfer system. Previously, there were various middlemen which were there in the system. They caused to transfer money from one account to another. Using blockchain, we have removed that middleman and made our system decentralized. So in this way, we will be studying more about blockchain in our next lectures. Until then, thank you and have a nice day.